So, what if a school known for its hoops suddenly became a football giant? I mean, really think about that. It's a world that basically challenges everything you thought you knew about who's supposed to be on top.
Well, in this wild, speculative 2026 Rose Bowl matchup, that's exactly what we've got. You're looking at the undefeated Indiana Hoosiers as the #1 seed. And who are they playing? The Alabama Crimson Tide as the #9 seed. Yeah, you heard that right. This is way more than a game. It's a total earthquake for college football.
So we're diving into a world that's completely upside down. In the source article, it doesn't just see this as a game. Nope, it's a cultural collision. It's a moment that makes you rethink the very meaning of words like dynasty and legacy in college sports. I mean, look at this. It's a total clash of identities, right? You've got Indiana, the basketball blue blood from the Midwest, taking on Alabama, the football blue bloods of the South. One program is all about the hardwood, the other basically wrote the book on gridiron excellence.
And for Alabama, under Kalen DeBoer, things have been, well, weird. It's been a tough season, a 3-loss season. They just scraped into the playoff. So yeah, they made it to Pasadena, but that classic Bama swagger, that aura of invincibility, gone.
But for Indiana, oh man, this is everything. We're talking about a perennial basketball school that hadn't won an outright conference title in 80 years before 2025. Now they're 13-0, Big Ten champs for the first time since '67, and ranked #1 in the nation for the first time ever. It's the greatest turnaround story maybe in all of sports.
So how in the world did this happen? How did this impossible dream become a reality? Well, it really comes down to two people, the architects behind this whole thing.
First up, you've got the mastermind, Coach Curt Cignetti. This guy, in a ridiculously short amount of time, he turned the Hoosiers into a national power. He didn't just rebuild the team, he basically shattered every single expectation for what a coach could do in Bloomington.
And just look at this record. 26-2 in 2 seasons. That's the kind of number that tells you everything you need to know about the speed of this transformation. It's just insane. He completely rewrote the playbook on how to build a winner.
And then on the field, you have the guy making it all happen. Fernando Mendoza, the Heisman winner. He was the star quarterback, the face of this whole historic turnaround. He was leading a team with an elite defense, a killer rushing attack. He was the engine.
And what an engine he was. 39 total touchdowns in their perfect 2025 season. Think about that. 33 passing, 6 rushing. The guy was an absolute scoring machine, a total dual-threat nightmare for defenses.
And here's the cherry on top. This perfectly illustrates just how historic this run was. He became the very first Heisman Trophy winner in Indiana history. Ever. That right there cements his legacy forever.
Okay, so we've set the stage. Now let's get to the game itself. Let's talk about the Rose Bowl takedown, how this all went down in Pasadena.
Right from the jump, this game was all Indiana. They put points on the board early and they just never, ever looked back. It was a complete dismantling.
And you know, there was this one moment really early on that told you everything. Alabama goes for it on 4th and 1 inside their own territory. But Indiana's defense? They weren't having it. Huge stop. It was a massive statement.
And what does Indiana do? They capitalize immediately. Mendoza finds Charlie Becker for a 34-yard touchdown. Boom. Just like that, it's 10-0. They were in complete control.
By the time we got to halftime, the difference was just obvious. Look at the stats. Indiana had almost double the yards Alabama did. They were up 17-zip. You just know Alabama went into that locker room completely shell-shocked.
And if Alabama had any hope of a comeback in the second half, well, that got snuffed out pretty quick. Quarterback Ty Simpson fumbles the ball, Indiana recovers. That turnover forced by all Big Ten corner D'Angelo Pons was pretty much the nail in the coffin. And then came the dagger. The Mendoza to Elijah Surratt connection, that was their go-to all season long, and it delivered again. Mendoza just drops it in a bucket for a touchdown. That made it 24-3, game over.
So you can see here the final score really says it all. This wasn't a nail-biter, it wasn't even close. It was a complete and total dismantling of a college football dynasty, an absolute blowout.
But you know, this story is so much bigger than just one game, right? It's really about what a moment like this means for the entire sport. Could this be a whole new era for college football? And the source article really hits on the emotional side of this. Kirk Herbstreit tells this story about talking to an 80-year-old woman, and she's crying because she's finally at the Rose Bowl watching her team. She never thought she'd live to see it. It just gives you chills.
So this whole thing,
This fictional game, it's a cultural collision, a battle of legacies. It's this wild moment of truth for a sport that's just been completely disrupted. It's the ultimate underdog story, where a new giant rises up and takes down the old guard.
And that leaves us with one big question, right? What happens when a dynasty becomes the underdog? In a sport that's built on history and tradition, what does a moment like this really mean for the future? It really makes you wonder.